Hello everybody and welcome back to another World of Warships Legends video. Today we are going to be taking a look at the legendary tier British battleship, the Conqueror. For our commander, we are using Jackie Fisher currently, however this video was filmed before the release of Jackie Fisher, so we will be using Cunningham for this video with flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, reaching out XXL, and fire with fire. For our commander's inspirations, we are using Angelo Iachino and Ashleigh Scharnhorst for maximum accuracy. If you do not have Ashleigh Scharnhorst, Paolo di Revel works just fine. However, since Jackie Fisher has just been released and is kind of busted, we're just going to run over the commander build we have with him, using flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, reformer, master mechanic, and fight fire with fire, with the inspirations Andrew Cunningham and Paolo di Revel, just to get that reload down to get the nice reload boost with his base trait. So just going over our upgrades here, we are using aiming systems mod, which is pretty obvious, propulsion mod, concealment mod, and main battery reload mod. Pretty much just your standard build for legendary tier battleships. In terms of your statistics, bear in mind again this is with Cunningham, so they are going to be different for Fisher. We have 74,600 hit points with a 28% torpedo damage reduction. Nothing too special there, and hit points are on the lower side. In terms of your artillery, this is really what makes these ships shine. You have a 19.5 kilometer range with a 27-second reload, and of course the 48% fire chance, which is just, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really just a bit too much in my opinion. So honestly, any HE salvo is going to set a fire. It's really common to get double fires, but I think you'll be seeing more of that later. In terms of your AA here, it's not that great, but it's also not that terrible, and bear in mind you have the DFAA, so it can do something. However, you rarely face legendary carriers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Nothing very special in terms of maneuverability here. We have a 20.3 knot top speed, a 940 meter turning circle, and an 18.2 second rudder shift. So again, nothing too special there, but you can run the rudder shift mod if you really want to get that down. Concealment 13.4, so not the best, not the worst. Now Conqueror's armour is a bit of a funny thing. You are coated in 32, which is both blessing and a curse, as I've said many times in the past. Anything with 8-inch guns is going to destroy you with high explosive. Yamato is going to absolutely ruin your day at literally any angle because 32 overmatch is funny. Now your belt is actually pretty thick here. It's 406mm or about 16 inches. Your turrets aren't, they're not poorly protected. They've got 15-inch fronts. However, I do find they get knocked out pretty easily. However, your Citadel is completely under the water. Getting Citadeled in the Conqueror is really a sight to behold if it ever happens, so you don't really have to worry about that happening pretty much ever. Now just glossing over the consumables a bit here, you do have the two standard British super heals. Of course you get 4 with Fisher, but again, Cunningham for this video. You get the 2 DFAA, which I've already mentioned, and the enhanced secondary targeting, so you can make your horrible secondaries slightly less horrible. But yeah, so with all that being said, on to the gameplay. So for our cheeky little first game here, we are going to be on the map Crash Zone. Well, of course, it is down tier. I mean, what can you really expect legendary? We are at the sea spawn on the right flank. There are 3 destroyers a team. We have spawned with a Schlieffen and a legendary destroyer. I can't really remember what it is. So what we're essentially going to do here is kind of what the Conqueror does. Is, well, we're just going to go full speed, get turned around and already in a position to go stern onto the enemy. Because Conqueror's armour, as I've already said, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but high explosive can kill Conqueror pretty easily if you don't get the super heal off. And AP chunk damage is really a problem with that pretty big superstructure. So in other words, normally any kind of aggression will get you killed pretty quickly, which is a bit unfortunate. We're going to take our first shot here at the enemy Temeraire, just waiting enough in order to just get angled out. So we make ourselves a small target and we angle our armor. He does slow down there, which is a bit unfortunate, so we only land 3 shells. And we have an enemy Musashi over there. He's pretty much just going to sit at the back of the map the entire game, and we're not going to see him to the end. So I think he's just going to reverse and start here. Now the Temeraire has, of course, stopped, and because of that he's now just, well, he's sitting there, which of course makes him a pretty easy target, so, you know, we just fire our guns at him. And because this is Conqueror, we do a stupid amount of damage with 8 pens and get 2 fires. Which, of course, being on half health and having 2 fires, you really can't have that, so he tries desperately to put out the fires. I don't know why I said trying desperately there. Whatever. We're just going to wait a bit here, just so his DCP comes off of cooldown, and we're going to just lob another salvo at him. And really, there's nothing he can do about this. I mean, he's getting conquered, he's got a double fire again, and that one's permanent. He's going to use his super heal, which means he's going to survive a bit longer, but all that really means is I can farm him for a bit more damage. In case you haven't noticed, the tone of my voice, I'm kind of a bit disgusted at this ship, to be honest. While I haven't nerfed this thing already, despite being like 2 years. It's been 2 years since the ship was in rentals, back in Christmas of... I want to say Christmas 2020, but honestly I can't remember. Either way, it's overdue for a nerf, and honestly one thing I haven't really touched up on yet is how Jackie Fisher is going to make this ship go from kind of OP to completely 100% OP. We're just going to take a shot of that gross curves as well. So Jackie Fisher does, of course, you sacrifice like 3% dispersion on your main guns in turn for 2 heals, which gives Conqueror a really high amount of potential hit points. And if you don't know, potential hit points is your ship's actual hit points, in this case 74,600, and then the maximum amount of heals you can pull off. The maximum amount of HP your heals can restore on top of that. Yeah, that gives you your potential health number. Pretty self-explanatory. The enemy gearing turns up here, so we're just going to try and get kind of turned in, but I mean, he's going to get spotted, so we want to take a full shot at him here with our rear guns. The enemy Temeraire is dead. Rest in peace, buddy. We just kind of cooked him alive, and he couldn't do anything about it. We haven't even been hit yet. The enemy gearing is destroyed immediately by torpedoes from our ship. So we have, and also because our Chief has pushed up here, we've got complete and total domination of his camp. Oh, and Z44 also kills the enemy destroyer with torpedoes, so that's pretty nice. The salvo on the GK looks pretty good here. We get a nice maybe 10k chunk on the superstructure and set another fire on him. So despite what I said earlier about the aggression in the Conqueror kind of getting you killed, because we have complete domination, we might as well just go in and take the cap. Our Schlieffen's kind of having to use the island here because presumably his heal's on cooldown or something. Unfortunately, somebody else gets a fire on GK before we do, so we don't get a fire of that salvo, but we do get a semi-decent HE chunk on his superstructure, which is unfortunately completely saturated by now, so our damage potential on the GK is kind of limited, so we are going to switch our fire to the enemy Montana. And yeah, all of our shells kind of fall short, and I throw the joystick around in a bit of anger because, well, all my shells just fell short. Flawless game, by the way, no bugs. Absolutely not. Aimed at his bow, he didn't even move. Anyways, because he's just kind of sitting still, he gets absolutely pounded there and loses about half of his HP. So we do just aim into his superstructure in anticipation that he might reverse, which he does, so unfortunately our shells actually still managed to fall a bit short of where we aimed despite him not moving, and our shells did unfortunately go into his bow and his turrets. As you can see there, the Musashi and the like just absolutely rail us no matter what angle we're at, so again, it's really just something you've got to keep in mind. Try and make sure to stay as far away from your martyrs as possible while still being able to burn them to death.
Problem solved, sir.
Now, we did take out turrets, so we only fire 3 here at the enemy Montana. But I believe it's going to be enough to get another fire, because Conqueror... Let's have a look here, let's wait. And yeah, we do get the fire on the Montana. That's a permanent fire as well. We're going to slow down here just so we can pick up the base, so we can get the cap. You might have noticed at this point the enemy's got 4 ships left because, well, this is a high tier game, and really high tier games are over quite quickly. It's very rare a high tier game lasts for quite a long amount of time, and really kind of comes down to the wire, which you will see in the second game actually, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. The enemy Musashi, of course, here. Musashi completely on full health, unsaturated. Perfect opportunity for farming. We're going to put our full salvo into him here. We do get the double fire, so he's pretty much forced to put that out. The Montana is about to go down here, which would leave the enemy on 2 battleships, and if they lose one of those 2, then the game ends on points because there are only 60 left. Oh, well, of course, unless the enemy kills one of our ships, which honestly doesn't look very likely. So we're just going to fire another salvo here at the enemy Musashi, who put the fires out, and of course we get the perma double because that's kind of fair. Now we are going to fire our next salvo here at the enemy GK because the Musashi is already burning, and we don't want to trigger his fire with fire by setting a third one in case he's running it. Just as we hit the salvo on the GK and set another pearl fire on him, we managed to pick up both the high caliber and the Witherer at the same time. Again, Musashi, we're heavily angled. Musashi put 16k into us because well, let's say it takes an OP ship to beat an OP ship. And with the GK dying, the game ends because the enemy lost all of their points that quickly. And I don't even know if we actually lost a ship that game. I think we might have lost 1 or 2. Either way, we finished the game with 176,000 damage. Pretty good result. Yeah, we lost 2 ships. 2,598 base XP, top of the team on the Crash Zone map. And with that, we're going to jump straight into game number 2. Now for our second game here, we have spawned at sea yet again, but this time on the map Atlantic. Now the enemy team has a triple Conqueror division, and also we have 2 Conquerors, so there are a total of 5 Conquerors in this game, and needless to say my hopes for winning this because of a triple Sweat Conqueror division were quite low. Now, I have loaded armor piercing here because Conqueror's armor piercing is still nasty with 12 16-inch guns. And of course, people tend to go broadside at the start of the game, and honestly, myself included. So, getting a cheeky early shot off is always good. And of course, the first ship we get to shoot at is an enemy Alaska. Being first thing spotted in the cruiser, never that good. We fire our guns here at the Alaska. Unfortunately, he's going to turn out a bit too quickly, and I don't think we're going to get anything on that salvo. Oh, well, we do. We get 2 pens for 9,400 damage. Now, of course, we're pretty much going to do what we did last time. We're going to turn out slightly. Enemy destroyer has slipped into sea, so we do at least know where their destroyer is. Enemy Minnesota's kind of travelling really slowly, and I think we leaded a bit there because we expect him to speed up, but I don't necessarily think he does. He takes a Citadel from someone. I think it might have been our allied Bourgogne. Unfortunately, our AP does not do what we hoped there, and we only get 1 pen's worth of damage with 4,700, unfortunately. Of course, we've just switched back to the old reliable high explosive, aiming to a superstructure. And he too has also turned out to, if it wasn't for this turning out of the enemy ships, I probably would have broken my personal damage record for the Conqueror. Actually, no, I would have done. I absolutely would have broken my personal damage record, because this is going to be a very high damage game. I mean, just look at all these nice juicy superstructures to farm. we are going to fire here at the enemy Alaska, who's, I mean, honestly, Alaska's armor isn't bad, but it doesn't really withstand the battleship shells very well, and we do get a double fire, which forces him to use with DCP there. Now, we just want to stay far away from these Conquerors, because these 3 Conquerors are all coming to this side of the map. And honestly, they kind of do what you shouldn't be doing. And I'll point that out when we get to it. But we are going to get the other fire on the Alaska there from that salvo. We're going to switch our focus here to the enemy Conqueror division. I mean, that guy's not got a camo on, so he'd probably end up shooting him. We accelerate to try and dodge his salvo there, and well, we do it successfully without taking so much as a scratch. He doesn't really get the same opportunity, and he does take the salvo, unfortunately, and we only land 3 shells, and we don't get a fire. It's okay though. I mean, if we were running Fisher here, we'd be able to fire our guns in 24 seconds, because we're balancing department fail. This shot, I think we might have applied just a little less lead than is optimal, but we do still manage to get the fire on him, so, well, if he's smart, he wouldn't put out single fire, but seeing as our damage counter is not ticking up, he seems to have put it out, which means if he gets spotted again, we're going to seize our opportunity, and we are going to shoot him again. Unfortunately, there is an island now in the way, so that's not possible. We do get a nice shot here on the enemy Conqueror and do, I think, just over 15,000 damage to him and set him on fire. I don't know whether that's going to be a perma burner or it's just letting it burn or something. The 3rd Conqueror has joined the party this time, and unfortunately he manages to disappear. We were a bit too greedy with trying to get our other turret round into a firing arc, but we still get 4 pens in a fire. Now, he has made a very, very crucial mistake here in putting out a single fire, which when you're being focused by a Conqueror, bad idea. We ourselves get set on fire, but of course we're not going to put that out. Now, the enemy Conqueror here, we're just gonna, I mean, he's going broadside, biggest target physically possible. Yikes, 22,000 damage and a double permafire. If that's not the most Conqueror thing ever, I really don't know what is. How this is acceptable in wargaming, I don't know. Anyways, he sets us on fire twice as well, and he does some pretty nasty damage to us, but we managed to kill it back. We're just going to get another shot off at him. We're going to load armor piercing just in case he stays broadside and we get a 3rd shot. That salvo there does about 16,000 damage as well. So with about 6.5-ish minutes, we're already up to over about 150,000 damage here. I mean, it really is just kind of ridiculous. Now we're going to get a nice AP shot here at the enemy Alaska, and we're just going to switch back to the old reliable. Now we have just lost our only destroyer to the enemy Daring, which is unfortunate. And also, speaking of unfortunate, we only get 1 pen on that Alaska. How? I'm not really sure. But I guess all the shells went high when he turned in, because he has turned in a bit. Now, we want this Alaska off the board, because if he can get away and heal, and Alaska does have a pretty darn good heal, so if he has enough heals to really get away, heal enough to become a menace again, he really can hurt us, because Conqueror armor and Alaska guns is a pretty nasty combination in favour of the Alaska. We choose to fire the front guns in a hopeful bit in order that kills him there, and it doesn't look very good, and unfortunately we do just miss completely. And because we're really greedy and damage hungry, we're just going to try and farm some more damage on the enemy Conquerors here. And I mean, this is one of my complaints of Legendary tier. Is it essentially is just overpowered ships punching each other for 20k salvos back and forth, no matter the angle. Like Yamato does it, Montana, damage build Montana with the Weave Commander can do it. I mean, Conqueror just does it with Hot Explosive. The only ships that really don't might just be Bogong and Schlieffen, but honestly, it's just kind of brain dead. And especially this is brain rot content right here. I'll probably put it at the start of the video. And yeah, well, we're not going to push here. Obviously, pushing gets you killed, and also, well, the enemies get the advantage right now. They've got more ships. We do manage to pick up the high caliber there as well. Nice and cheeky. Now, the enemy Conqueror here is reversing out, which means we're going to get a nice, a beautiful shot here. And honestly, I was going to say something about requirement of brain power, but you really don't, because you don't even need to switch to armor piercing if someone goes broadside, because your high explosive just does more than enough damage. In fact, it probably does more damage than the armor piercing does without citadels. Of course, enemy Conqueror here, we're going to take a shot. Now, I think their first Conqueror has gone down. Our dispersion isn't very good on that salvo, unfortunately, and he does slow down, but we managed to get some damage off of him. Honestly, rewatching this game now after it happened, and I can really see where we could have just got. I mean, if we possibly could have cracked 300,000 damage, to be honest. So, well, yes, spoiler alert, we don't crack 300,000. I would have made this video a lot faster if we cracked 300,000. And we do an extra 16k there. Unfortunately, all of our HE shells land where he already has a fire, so we don't get any extra fires. Anyway, enemy Alaska. He's playing it very risky here. He's just going to poke his nose round the corner. And we are hoping for a nice, good shot here. Unfortunately, not the Citadel, but we get 4 pens, and that leaves him with just enough health, but we get just enough damage in order to get that Confederate medal. That's 237k now. It is a bit of a shame we didn't kill the Alaska. I mean, we didn't get like close to a Kraken or anything, but still. Kill was a kill. Speaking of kills, the enemy Conqueror here, we're just going to aim our AP into his superstructure, hope to get some good damage. Slam on the brakes here as the Minnesota gets spotted, because we expect him to shoot us. We get the Arsehole Award on the enemy Conqueror as well. And we do go on spotted here, which is curious, because it means the destroyer's either just... he's just gone somewhere, or, well... he finds an island, and that's exactly where he is. He is in B. And I don't think he's going to last very long. I'm pretty sure he gets radared or something, or just sonared and just destroyed. But the enemy Minnesota giving us a nice angle. We angle out just enough, so hopefully we minimise the damage that is caused to us. Unfortunately, 2 torpedo protection hits as well. The really chunky US battleship line, that's just what I'm going to call it, does have a really weird torpedo protection thing, just like the low tier ones, which kind of protects it from anything, really. Now the Minnesota goes undetected here, but we're actually going to risk taking a blind shot because, well, he's just kind of sitting still, isn't he? We do manage to pick up the fire with that salvo as well, so now he's illuminated, he's going to be spotted, not helped by the fact he's shooting. And I believe the Minnesota does get a kind of nasty salvo on us here. I mean, not terrible, but definitely survivable. We've got 15k health left and no heals. Again, I'm going to talk about Jackie Fisher. If we're talking Jackie Fisher here, I'd still have 2 heals left, to be honest, and I'd probably be using a 3rd one right now. Again, full torpedo protection hits, Minnesota gets some weird protection. But we get the Fire and the Witherer medal, because of course, not a Conqueror game if you don't get the Witherer. We're just going to fire our rear turrets here. He takes us down to about 8,000 health. And we are just going to switch to armor piercing, as the Minnesota has in fact died, which leaves just the enemy Conqueror left, who was going around the top. Well, I say the enemy Conqueror, one of the enemy Conquerors. We do manage to, we were on the back foot there for a part of the mid-game, but we have managed to claw it back here. And, well, I don't really want to say carry, because, to be honest, I'm going to be honest, there was no team play here. I mean, let's just be honest to ourselves about that. But the enemy Conqueror, I was gonna say poor Conqueror, but he's playing Conqueror, so no sympathy is required. He's got no health, and he's just, well, he's at the back of the map. We are going to attempt a nice yoink here with our AP, and managed to pick up the kill for our second kill, and also a nice dreadnought to end the game on. $273,000 damage in the legendary tier battleship Conqueror. Honestly, I think, well, we get 3,508 base XP as well. Unfortunately, not quite enough medals that they go across the screen, but, well, it'll do. I do think my record for the Conqueror is about 281,000. So if we just had a bit better aim and the enemy didn't turn out, then honestly, probably could have cracked it in that game, and that would have been very, very YouTube worthy. Anyways, on to the final thoughts. So, in all honesty, Conqueror is very obviously a ship worth obtaining. In my opinion, it might be the first legendary battleship you should get, in my opinion, because I think it's probably the strongest, maybe tied with the Yamato. Again, this ship's been out for 2 years and they haven't nerfed it. In fact, they've given it a gigantic, massive buff with Jackie Fisher, who essentially decreases your reload down to 24 seconds with my build. He increases your range to about 20.5 kilometers, and he gives you an extra 2 heals. So I don't really know what they were thinking of Jackie Fisher, and because Jackie Fisher is going to be a major buff to any British battleship, really, particularly Monarch, which is already a good ship, Vanguard, which is already a good ship, and Duke of York, which is already a good ship, and Nelson, which is already a good ship. You get the point here. Jackie Fisher is kind of ridiculous, and you should be what you're on the Conqueror now. But, well, I think with that all being said, I hope you did all enjoy the video, and please give it a like, and also consider subscribing if you enjoyed, which, well, I hope you did. And toodaloo, au revoir, bye bye.